If you're a self-described gamer geek, then there's probably a good chance that you felt a bit at odds with popular culture, most likely through middle school or high school. Now, before I go any further, I feel like I need to say this. Obviously, this is not necessarily the case for everyone, but I'm sure a number of gamer geeks and nerds felt something similar to this at some point in their lives, and it's definitely something I experienced a little bit of growing up. During this time, my enemy, or the source of my problems, were the people who were the sporty, popular, preppy kids, the jock bros, the plastics, and the popular kids. A snide comment, a shove in the hallway, and the endless talking behind other people's backs. Looking back at it, I wasn't completely blameless in this either. In addition, really, it wasn't all that bad for me. You know, I'm really fortunate in that regard. I understand that a lot of kids out there do suffer from genuine bullying and just general nastiness, but for other kids like me growing up, I feel like we made a much bigger deal out of it than it actually was. And the reason I go on this bit of teenage angst tangent is because I feel like thoughts and feelings like this sort of contribute to a type of video game being looked at in a bad light. The photorealistic athletics video game. Now, sports around the world, but particularly in America, is the dominant lifestyle culture. Growing up through middle school and high school and having just a few bad experiences with some kids who were athletes back then really left a bad taste in my mouth when it came to sports lifestyle. And this is really a shame because sports are fucking brilliant, and I think they go hand in hand with gaming. Just look at esports and the number of pro athletes who are self-described gamer geeks and stream whenever they have the time to do so. So, in this video, I'm going to list a couple of reasons why I think it's important that every single gamer have a sports game in their library. Now, does this mean I think that you should be keeping up to date with every single annual Madden release? No, but I really do think sports-based video games have a lot of value to them. Number one, it really boils down competition into its simplest forms. Every video game has their own version of competition, be it a bunch of non-playable character zombies you need to mow down, resources you need to collect, puzzles you need to solve. In a sports video game, that idea of competition, that idea of challenge is boiled down into its simplest form. Simply have a higher number than your opponent. How you do that, however, is where you need to get creative and get resourceful. Everyone knows how sports work, more or less, even if you aren't that interested in it. And so it makes for a really good just pick up and play, have a quick round of FIFA, and then you're out the door to maybe go and hang out with your friends. Number two, these games are also strategy games. While the marketing campaigns of every Madden game make it look like all the action happens on the field, a big component of each of these games happens outside of that, where you need to manage your team composition, your player health, player salary, and the entire franchise budget. There's a whole meta that really isn't made out as glamorously as, you know, the gameplay on the field is. And essentially, it's a huge resource management strategy simulation game, and it's so in-depth. There are live markets where you can actively trade and bid for players. There are up-to-date player statistics that are updated weekly. Players can randomly get injured or feel sick, and so you have to accommodate accordingly with that. There's so many things going on in this whole live meta sub-game that they've made. Number three, these games are just straight video game technology porn. DICE's Frostbite 3 engine, which came out in 2010, actually took components from FIFA, Madden, and the Tiger Woods PGA series to really nail down the in-game motion movement of the soldiers, as well as the lighting techniques used to create one of the most powerful engines ever developed in video game history. And then FIFA later actually took the Frostbite 3 engine, used it for their own purposes, and revamped it yet again. Sports games get so popular and they sell so much that developers can afford to throw so much money into just making the game look absolutely beautiful and run super, super smoothly. To this day, every single annual sports video game release boasts some of the best motion capture, some of the best lighting, some of the best textures. Number 4, you'll actually get a better semblance as to what's happening in sports in real life. Go into any restaurant or bar and I guarantee at least one TV is going to be playing some game live. Now, after a round of NBA 2K, you're probably not going to understand why the Kings made the shittiest trade in the history of the NBA, or why Curry literally broke NBA 2K16, but I bet you'll understand why LeBron got fouled, or, if you play Madden enough, why the Pats defense called a nickel play on a second and short running game. At the very least, it'll definitely give you something to chat about at the water fountain. Which brings me to my last and most important point, number 5, meet new people and learn new things. Now this is a bit preachy, but I honestly think it is true. When you begin to understand someone else's passion that you're not necessarily particularly interested in, it definitely does create a bond between the two of you. And who knows, you might actually become really interested in some aspects of what they're really passionate about. In my last semester of college, I had to room with 2 soccer bros. I put the Xbox out in the living room for everyone to play at. And, I downloaded Tiger Woods, FIFA, Madden, NHL, all those big games. And then within a month, I would come home and they'd be playing Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, Need for Speed, completely of their own volition. These were things they weren't necessarily super into at the very beginning. So, you sort of build that relationship and you both realize what's super cool about what everyone is into. And who knows? While you begin to root for the Golden State Warriors because you like having the NBA equivalent of Exodia the Forbidden One, the office mate down from you may start looking at video guides on how to get better as McCree. Now this is my experience with sports video games, and if you have a similar story, I'd love to hear it, and please share it in the comments below. Please like and share this video if you found it interesting, subscribe to G.E.N.T's YouTube, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr. This is Jaime from G.E.N.T. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Level up!